Xbox just dropped some big news about the new Fable game, and while it's not all good news, there's plenty to get hyped about. During a recent Xbox podcast, Craig Duncan, the newly appointed boss at Xbox Game Studios, and host Tina Amini talked about the game's progress, and yeah, the biggest news is that it's been delayed to 2026. It's a bummer for sure, but Duncan promises the extra time will make it worth the wait, and from the sneak peek footage they showed, we're leaning toward believing him. Duncan explained that Playground Games wants to take their time to make sure Fable is as awesome as possible. They're huge fans of the original games and want to mix that classic Fable vibe, like the goofy British humor and wild fantasy world, with shiny new ideas. They say sometimes you need to measure twice, cut once, so maybe this extra time is what this game needs to really be great. And based on the short clips they showed, I can safely say that Fable looks absolutely gorgeous and incredible at times. The footage was brief, but here's the scoop on what we saw. First, we're reintroduced to the same protagonist featured in previous trailers, a fierce woman clad in a striking blue outfit wielding a sleek one-handed sword with practiced ease. Look, I get it, a lot of you have strong opinions about how the main protagonist looks, and honestly, you should. Drop your opinions in the comments because your voices matter. After all, you're the ones opening your wallets here, right? They've got time to make changes, but whether they actually do, that's on them. Anyway, back to the cool new stuff. The true standout, at least in my eyes, is the team's exceptional work on the environment, which looks nothing short of breathtaking. Towering trees of varying sizes and intricate compositions, a forest floor blanketed with decaying leaves and scattered branches, and rolling hills adorned with vibrant wildflowers all come together to create a lush, immersive fantasy world. At the bustling heart of Albion lies its densely packed medieval city, teeming with life. A grand marble statue stands proudly in the center of a buzzing square, while cobblestone streets, lined with merchant stalls, overflowing baskets, creaking carts, and flickering street lamps, wind their way toward an imposing castle. This towering structure not only dominates the skyline, but is seamlessly integrated into the city's fabric. At night, the atmosphere shifts dramatically, becoming eerily spooky and more perilous under the pale moonlight and the dim glow of flickering oil lanterns. The game appears to embrace verticality in a meaningful way, not just through the towering castle and tall trees, but also in scenes like the one where our protagonist gallops on horseback through dense forests and along winding paths, eventually ascending to a mysterious ruin perched atop a hill. Speaking of horseback riding, the latest teaser confirms that for the first time in the series, we will have a rideable horse. This addition feels like a natural fit, especially considering the game's shift to an open-world design. Coupled with the game's impressive draw distances, this promises to let us experience Albion in all its sprawling, breathtaking glory. We also caught glimpses of new combat encounters, showcasing a mix of one-handed swords, hefty two-handed maces, and a dash of magical flair. For instance, we'll face off against a colossal rooster that's anything but ordinary thanks to its monstrous size and peculiar cat-like tail. Another scene pits the protagonist against multiple foes where a single sweeping strike from a massive two-handed weapon sends them tumbling. These enemies appear to be redesigned versions of the classic Hobbs, though we'll need to wait for official confirmation. The teaser's highlight, however, is undoubtedly the intense battle against a menacing Balverine. This encounter showcases the use of devastating fireball spells, adding a layer of magical strategy to the fight. Equally important are the traps we can set in preparation for the battle, making tactical retreats and luring the Balverine into these traps while parrying its ferocious attacks a viable and thrilling approach. Overall, the combat system looks snappy, crisp, and responsive with smooth dodging and parrying mechanics that promise to keep us on our toes. The teaser concludes with our protagonist delivering a swift kick to a hapless chicken, all set against the backdrop of beautifully rendered golden fields of wheat. Sure, waiting until 2026 stings, but if the footage is any hint, this Fable reboot could be the best game in the series. The keyword here is could be, as the industry is quite unpredictable these days. And maybe this extra time is exactly what the game needs. From lush forests to chaotic chicken-kicking chaos, Playground Games is cooking up something special. It just makes me want to play this game, like, right now. Fingers crossed they stick the landing. In the meantime, consider playing the old games, or at least the first Fable, which often goes on sale for a deep discount on Steam. As we wrap this up, what are your hopes for this Fable reboot? What are you most excited to see when this game finally comes out? What would make this Fable special for you? Drop it down in comments below. If you want to stay in the loop on Fable and other exciting upcoming games, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss our next video. Until then, happy adventuring everyone, and keep those chickens on their toes.